if you want to gain more returns, then Arvocap will be suitable for you, but also you'll have exposure to more risk compared to that of Ox Special Fund. Suppose you want to diversify your equity portfolio across the African continent, then the best option to do is to invest through the Arvocap African Equity Special Fund. So in today's video, I'm going to do a complete review about Arvocap African Equity Special Fund. So this special fund invests in equity or shares of companies in Africa. And at the end, I will also compare it with Ox Special Fund so that you can see which of these investment scheme or special fund is suitable for you. So consider liking this video and watch till the end so that you can gain some insight about this Arvocap Africa Equity Special Fund. Also remember that this video is only for educational purpose. It's not a financial advice. So in case you want to invest in either of the funds that I'm going to share, consider doing more research and also seeking some financial advice. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is Arvocap Africa Special Equity Fund all about? So this is an investment vehicle designed to outperform the market average by investing in high value, high liquid stocks across the continent. This special fund majors in investing in stocks of the top performing companies in Africa, those that are listed in stock exchange of different countries, like for example in Nairobi, South Africa, Nigeria, all those countries. They invest in the top performing stocks in various countries in Africa. And the fund focuses on accumulating capital through mid to long term perspective on equities, offering high returns and strategic positions. So they only focus on equities that have good returns, for example, on dividends and also on capital gains. So when it comes to investing in equities, you only focus on two things: capital gain and also dividends. And those are the two returns on equity. And one of the criteria they use to invest in companies is that companies must derive a substantial portion of their revenue from Africa, ensuring deep-rooted presence in the African market. So companies that are generating most of their revenue outside Africa are not part of this equity fund. So they focus majorly on companies that generate revenue in the African market. That means they sell their goods and services within Africa. And they allocate their resources for investment in companies with good balance sheet and significant financial stability and resilience. And in terms of risk and reward profile, the fund is rated category 6 on risk scale, indicating exposure to equity and associated market risk. The risks associated with this fund include market volatility, currency fluctuation, difficulty to liquidate, and additional fee in relation to the fund executing its trade. So if you want to invest in Arvocap African Special Equity Fund, just know that you'll have exposure to more risk because the stock market is very volatile. So you should put that into consideration. So before even you invest in such a special fund, make sure that you have a money market fund for emergency and also a healthcare insurance. So let's now see how this fund has performed since the date of inception. As you can see, this African Equity Special Fund was founded in July 2024 and they had a return of 0.97, and the only time they had a negative return was on November. That is, they had a negative of 3.64%. And since then, they have had a positive return. For example, this year in 2025, the lowest return was 1.112, and that was on June. And the highest was on January, that was 7.34. Let's now see the cumulative return of this special fund. So to arrive at this cumulative return, you will need to add up all these returns and it will come to 61.64 since the date of inception. And for the last 12 months, the average return is 55.39 and year to date being 22.54. And let's go ahead and see the asset allocation of this special fund and also the fee structure, because any collective investment scheme or fund has something called management fee and also performance fee. So let's go and have a look at that. So before we even look at the asset allocation, let me go through something that I forgot. That is the fund manager of this special fund. That is the Arvocap African Special Equity Fund. The fund manager is Arvocap Asset Managers, and they are also licensed by the Capital Market Authority. And Arvocap Asset Managers got their license in 2023 October. So in terms of legitimacy, they are regulated. And they also have their offices at Nairobi at Reliable Towers, 8th floor, Wing P. So if you want to go and do more research, you can visit their offices. And I'll also share where you can find this document at the end of the video. In terms of trustee and also custodian, the trustee is NCPA Bank and also the custodian is NCPA Bank. So all your money will be deposited through the NCPA Bank in case you want to invest in this special fund. So in case you want to get started with this Arvocap African Equity Special Fund, the minimum investment is 15,000 South African rand. So the currency domination of this fund is South African rand. And if you convert that to Kenya shilling, it's around 110,000 Kenya shillings. So the requirement by the Capital Market Authority is that any special fund minimum investment should not be less than 100,000 Kenya shillings. And also the login period should not be less than 6 months. So you can see the login period for your investment is also 6 months. And they also have a minimum top up of 10,000 South African rands. So you can convert that into Kenya shillings. That is around 70,000 Kenya shillings. So let's now see the asset allocation for this fund. So when it comes to investing in a special fund, in order for you to determine the risk level, you must see the asset class of their investment. So for this fund, they invest heavily in African listed equities with a target being 75% of their fund. And also they invest in offshore equities, those companies listed outside Africa with an allocation target of 15%. And lastly, they have cash and cash equivalent at 10%. So you can see that they invest heavily in the African market. And the fund benchmark is S&P 40 index. That is the top 40 performing stocks in Africa. And let's now see the fees that they charge as part of the expenses of running this fund. So with this African Equity Special Fund, they charge an initial fee of 0.5% of all new invested amount. So your first investment, that is around 100,000 Kenya shillings, will be charged an initial fee of 0.5%. Same case to the top up. Any new investment amount will be charged 0.5%. And they also charge a management fee of 2% of the average assets under management. And this is charged annually. The annual fee is propagated daily but payable quarterly in arrears for average assets under management held on the charge date. So they focus on the average assets under management. And lastly, they have something called performance fee. And performance fee is calculated at 20% of the total annual net return after subtracting all expense ratio of the average assets under management. So if the fund is able to perform above the benchmark after the subtraction of the management fee and also the initial fee, then you'll be charged 20% on performance. So if the benchmark is 15% and the net return of this special fund is around 20, then the extra 5 will be charged 20% performance fee. Hope now you understand what performance fee is all about. Finally, let's compare the performance of this Arvocap African Equity Special Fund with that of OC Special Fund so that you can decide which of these special fund is suitable for you. So for OC Special Fund, they invest in a wide variety of financial assets, for example, government securities, cash and cash equivalents, currencies, metal, commodities, sovereign bonds, NSC securities, and also international equities. So you can see that with OC Special Fund, you are able to diversify your investment. Unlike in Arvocap African Equity Special Fund that invests only in equities, that is in shares, which expose you to more risk compared to OC Special Fund. I hope you now see that with OC Special Fund, the risk level is a little bit lower compared to that of Arvocap. And also when it comes to minimum investment for OC Special Fund, you need 500,000 Kenya shillings. which is higher than that of Arvocap African Equity Special Fund. Also, the minimum top-up of OX Special Fund is 50,000 Kenyan shillings. The login period is the same, but the management fee for this is higher than that of Arvocap African Equity Special Fund. So, in case you want to decide on which of these is suitable for you, you must consider also the amount of money you want to invest. So for this, it is 500,000 and the other one is 100,000 Kenyan shillings. And let's now compare the performance or the returns of these two special funds. So you can see in January, the absolute return for OX special fund was 1.6%, while that of Avocap African Equity Special Fund was 7.34. So this return could be including the capital gains and also dividends. So always put into consideration that. For the month of February, for OX Special Fund, they had 1.76%, while that of Avocap was 3.23. So you can see that Avocap is doing better, but this is because also with higher risk, there is higher returns. So you will now see now the impact of diversifying into different assets in order to lower the risk. The impact will be lower returns. So, but if you have higher risk tolerance, then Avocap Equity Special Fund is suitable for you. But if you have lower risk tolerance, then OX Special Fund might be suitable for you. So let's now see how much you would have made if you had invested 1 million Kenyan shillings with OX Special Fund since the date of inception. So that is on February 2024 up to March 2025. So by the end of March 2025, you would have had additional 369,000 Kenyan shillings. So that is the return you would have had if you had invested a million Kenyan shillings, which is a good return. So the main thing when it comes to comparing these two special funds is to look at the asset allocation so that you can know the risk profile of this special fund. And then you decide whether you want to have more returns that will equal more risk. So if you want to gain more returns, then Avocap will be suitable for you, but also you'll have exposure to more risk compared to that of OX Special Fund. And that's all I had for today. Hope you have gained some insight about this special fund, and also you can decide on which of these investment is suitable for you. So in case you want to invest in Arvocap African Special Equity Fund, you can just go to your Chrome browser and search for Arvocap African Special Equity Fund. Then it will bring you to this page where you'll be able to access some more information. For example, you'll come to Document Archive and click on 2024. Click on Open and it will bring you to this pop-up window. Then click View File so that you can have access to this document. And I'll recommend that you read through the risk that is involved in this investment so that you can have some knowledge of the kind of risk you are being exposed to. And that's all you need to know about this special fund. And you can always do more research and seek financial advice from your financial advisor. So consider liking this video and subscribe to this channel if you are gaining some valuable information from it. And let me see you in the next video.